In the quiet hum of a training camp, where the rhythm of drills and whistles usually dominates the headlines, a different kind of message took center stage. Not a play, not a pass, but a pair of cleats. And those cleats, my friends, carried more than tread. They carried a cry. Worn by Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, those cleats bore three powerful words: Free Palestine. Words not whispered, not scribbled on a notepad in the locker room, but painted boldly and purposefully across footwear that would charge into battle, not just on the field, but into the firestorm of political division, war, and public discourse. The colors mirrored the Palestinian flag: red, black, green, white. But even more haunting were the numbers that referenced the dead. The fallen, civilians caught in crossfire, names turned to statistics in the fog of a long, bitter conflict. This was not a one-time statement. Not a publicity stunt. No, this was the second consecutive year Azeez Al-Shaair has chosen to use his cleats, not just for traction, but for truth. He did not have to speak. His shoes said everything. And in that single choice, he ignited a fire across sports, across politics, across digital trenches where opinions are launched like missiles and nuance is too often the casualty. The war between Israel and Palestine rages on. The human cost rises. The political stakes intensify. And yet, on the turf of an NFL training facility, one man chose to remind America that the world is still bleeding, even as players line up in formation and fans count down to kickoff. Azeez didn't speak into microphones. He spoke with fabric and thread. He made his convictions known not in press conferences, but in the way he walked, on soles that carried the weight of the oppressed. And the internet did what it always does: it exploded. To some, he is a hero. A voice of the voiceless. A rare athlete who risks backlash, who defies the unspoken rule that players must play and stay silent when the world burns. Everyone should be supporting Azeez. He's the only NFL athlete speaking up for Palestine, one user wrote, as support poured in from communities long starved for representation in American sports culture. Another said, "They called this guy a dirty player last year. I honestly never believed it, the man got heart. Because sometimes courage is not measured by hits or tackles, but by the willingness to stand alone." But then came the backlash. Azeez Al-Shaair should be banned from the NFL for wearing pro-terrorist cleats, a comment screamed. For some, the imagery was inflammatory. The symbolism offensive. For some, the conflict is defined by terror and pain felt on the Israeli side, October 7th forever etched in their memory. And that's where the fire truly begins. This conflict is not new. It is decades old, steeped in trauma, religion, history, land, power. It has robbed countless families, Palestinian and Israeli alike, of peace, of security, of sons and daughters and futures that might have been. To enter this conversation is to step into a whirlwind. But Azeez stepped anyway. He didn't do it for sponsorships. There is no brand bonus for Palestine cleats. There is no commercial reward for entering one of the world's most divisive conflicts. He did it, perhaps, because silence felt heavier than risk. And now the NFL, whether it wants to or not, becomes part of this conversation. A league that has, in recent years, tiptoed between activism and regulation, must now consider once again, what is the role of the athlete in a world full of war? This isn't the first time cleats have spoken. NFL players have worn messages about racial justice, mental health, breast cancer, school shootings, and fallen heroes. But this reaches into international territory, into geopolitics, into the very heart of America's complicated global identity. For Palestinian Americans, for Arab communities across the country, Azeez is not just an athlete. He's a symbol of visibility, of courage, of defiance in a system where many have felt silenced or erased. And yet for Israeli Americans, for Jewish communities haunted by images of hostages, attacks, and rockets, his cleats are not a symbol of peace, but of pain. This is the duality we live in, where one symbol can mean liberation to some and devastation to others. And Azeez Al-Shaair, knowingly or not, has become a lightning rod. But this is not a man unfamiliar with adversity. Born to a large Muslim family, raised with conviction and compassion, Azeez has always been a fighter, not just in football, but in life. He is no stranger to struggle. And maybe that's what fuels him now. He knows what it means to be overlooked, to be unheard. And so, He walks into camp not just as a linebacker, but as a messenger. Some players wear cleats with names of charities. Some with initials of loved ones. Azeez wears his with a prayer for freedom. A call for peace. A protest against oppression as he sees it. And whether you agree or disagree with his stance, one cannot deny the courage it takes to stand, or run, with that kind of message beneath your feet. This is the world of modern sports. Where jerseys are stitched with meaning. Where athletes are no longer just players, but platforms. Where a pair of cleats can carry more weight than a helmet. The NFL has not issued a statement. Not yet, but they will be watching. Sponsors will be watching. Fans will be watching. And Azeez, he will keep running, with every step, kicking up dust from a battlefield that stretches far beyond any stadium. He is not the first athlete to speak out. And he will not be the last. Because in a world where silence often protects comfort, and speaking out invites fury, there are still those who choose fury. Who choose truth. Who choose to remind us that football may be a game, but justice is not. So let the cleats speak. Let them speak the pain of the innocent. Let them speak the fear of children. Let them speak the hope of mothers who pray for the bombs to stop. Let them speak for the thousands who cannot. Because sometimes, in the midst of touchdowns and training drills, the most important story is the one written not on the scoreboard, but on the shoes of a man who refuses to look away.